It's great to have Jo Caruana. I've known her for many years. We've been doing business together. She's an entrepreneur in her own right. Been in business since 2006. I think I read up a bit. I did my.
Well done.
Jo, you've started Write Me Anything 2006. Today you have a rebranded. You have, I think, 5 sections of your business. Business is growing. You have a number of writers. You were just telling me about your writing club. We had spoken about StoryBrand. I'm also
Super into StoryBrand.
Yeah, super into it. What got you from 2006 to here? I'd like you, I mean, our audience is male, female, but you are also an advocate for women in business. So we'd like to inspire some more women to take the plunge and go into business.
Get into business. I mean, I absolutely love business. I think for me, the important thing is I've really enjoyed the journey, right? So I didn't know I was getting into business in 2006. I'd been living in London. I was on a bit of a graduate path in that I was working for a large media company, and I hated the fact that, one step in front of the other, you had to really, follow the path that was set for you. And so I decided to come back to Malta on a whim. And that was it. One thing led to another. I recently graduated as a journalist. Somebody asked me to write something for them in return for money, which at the time was like, whoa, you want to pay me to write? That's amazing. Thank you. And then they recommended me to somebody else and recommended me to somebody else. And I think, it just grew from there. And then very early on, I decided to brand it as Write Me Anything as opposed to sort of just stay as a freelance writer. And I think when I look back, that was a good decision because it started to build a brand and it was more recognizable perhaps. And Write Me Anything as a brand name served me well for a very long time. But then just within the last couple of years, it started to feel like it wasn't me anymore. And I'd also opened another company in the interim called Finesse Consulta, which was related to business etiquette and customer care training, also really good fun. And so we rebranded as the Finesse Group. And yeah, we have 5 different sort of mini micro enterprises now all working together to help companies finesse their companies. And I love it. I couldn't love it more. It's such fun.
So what drives you? Is it difficult to manage the business? How many people do you have working?
So the team is 16. So it's still a small team in sort of the realms of business, but I never imagined I'd have a team of 16. I never imagined I'd have a team of 2. But you know what it's like in business. I love solving problems. So if a client comes to me with a problem, I'm very rarely going to say no. I'm going to find a way to say yes. And often that means you are one of those clients who comes to me with a problem. And I find a way to say yes. Because for me, that's one of the fun challenges, Why would you say no if you can find a way to say yes? So I guess in trying to say yes, I've had to bring other people on because as a solo entrepreneur, you're very limited with what you can do. So you bring one person on and then that person reaches capacity and then, there's another problem to solve. So you bring another person on and it's very much a case of before we knew it, we were this big. And I would say we're kind of where I want to be. I don't want to grow too much bigger. Maybe 17, 18. We just have a couple of gaps to fill, but very happy with where the business is now. And yeah, just really enjoy it. I think every day is different. That's what I love about business. There's no 2 days that are the same, especially in our business, in a very varied business. And I don't find it difficult. No, I just respond. And I think if you look at it in that respect and you're not panicked about the fact that you're always responding, you see it as a challenge, then for me, it's just been great fun.
That's great. So you have 16. Are they all 16 writers? You have trainers? You have a lot
It's a very mixed group. Content writing remains our bread and butter. So it was our first product ever, and it remains the majority of the work that we do. So yes, a lot of writers, but also we're in PR. So we have a number of PR experts on the team. We also have trainers. And then of course we've got our admin staff supporting us. I think that was my biggest leap when we took people on to help us to get a bit more organized. When you stop being the person who does the accounts and does the planning and does the organizing, at some point you have to take that.
You can focus on the business.
And you can focus on the business. And so we have a few lovely people helping us with that. We are an all-female team, bar one. We have one gentleman on the team. So, he's very patient. But yes, it doesn't feel like business, I'll be honest. It doesn't feel like if somebody had said to me, imagine what a business would feel like, this isn't it. This just feels like an adventure.
You love.
Feels like an adventure.
And tell me a bit more about Storybrand, because that's, I think, a passion of yours as well.
It's a huge passion. So you introduced me to Storybrand. You and my husband, funnily enough, introduced me to Storybrand almost within the same week. And Storybrand is an American marketing framework created by a guy called Donald Miller in the States. And the idea behind it is using storytelling in marketing to great effect. And I started listening to the podcast. I read the book because you told me to. And it really resonated with what we do. And, he's a very captivating speaker, a very clever man. And when COVID hit, I was very interested. I wanted to get certified in their framework, but I never had time to go to Tennessee, which is where they hold the courses. I couldn't imagine taking 10 days out of the business and going to focus. It was just impossible. But when COVID hit, we lost 95% of our projected income from a Friday to a Monday. Huge hit. We, at the time, were very heavily operational within the luxury markets, within the culture and entertainment sectors, and almost all of our clients were hit. And so in that first week, it went from sort of feeling like you're seriously going to cancel our contract, you're seriously going to, it felt unbelievable, to, okay, no problem, cancel, no worries at all, just from Friday to a Monday. And took the opportunity to do some thinking, and Storybrand was there. And right at that point, they were launching their online version of their course. So for the first time, we could do it remotely. Took the plunge, invested very heavily, because it's a heavy investment. And it changed my life, changed my business, totally.
And you're representing Malta, or?
So it's a global organization. I'm the only person certified in Malta, one of the few certified in Europe. It's, again, heavily in the south of the States, but there are people all over the world. A growing organization, very exciting organization. And yeah, it's great to represent in Malta. It's great to sort of take their thinking and introduce it to the market. But it's even better to work. It's opened the doors to international clients, which I don't think I could have imagined having before. It always felt like a huge goal to work with American, Canadian, even UK clients, whereas now I would say that international clients make up at least 60% of our portfolio.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and that was an exciting change just in the 2 years since COVID. But again, it's a huge opportunity for businesses in Malta because so much is remote now. The world's changed. Nobody cares. I mean, when I meet a client online, they don't even ask where you are. It's not relevant to them. You say Malta in the same way you say, I don't know, Tennessee or New York. Nobody notices. So the fact that we can work with anyone in the world on the same level as anyone in the world has blown my mind. And, we've proven that we can do it, which is really exciting.
That's great to have that opportunity in Malta. And
yeah.
Because it's true, you can never imagine that you're going to reach that level. But that's great. Amazing. So where are you heading with your business? I mean, what is your couple of years from now, 3 years from now?
Couple of years from now. I mean, we're developing heavily in the learning space. So Finesse Learning is the company that we're developing.
You have online learning as well.
Yeah, so we have online learning. So we're training other copywriters, we're training PR people, we're training people in customer care. I'm a big believer in the opportunities in the online education space. So we're going all in on that and developing some really interesting courses. We hired a COO in the States who's going to take that side of the business forward. So that's a very exciting step. Occasionally it feels out of my depth. It feels, why am I rocking the boat? Why am I trying to do something I don't necessarily know a lot about? but I see the opportunity. I see that we do have expertise in the market, perhaps, and that there are people that need these skills. I mean, copywriting is one of the most in-demand skills of the moment. We cannot keep up with the business that there is in that space, and we need to train good writers. And so it's really exciting to have that
And
chance.
being online, you're international then.
Totally
You can
international.
sell to anyone in the world.
Yeah.
So that's
And
super.
copywriting is an exciting space for people to go into because they can work from anywhere. So even our team of the 16, at least half are fully remote. Well, everybody's fully remote, but at least half are overseas. I myself now, I'm based, mostly in the UK, but hopping down whenever I need to. It's a totally new world when it comes to this remote working, and I think businesses have to embrace that. We're going through the great resignation at the moment. People are leaving their jobs at record rates because they don't want that feeling anymore of being sort of caged by their job. So I think businesses are going to have to adapt very quickly if they can to embrace remote working and see the potential and the opportunity in it.
I think copywriting skill is one of the skills that is most needed today in a business, because you need to reach out to the media. You need to know how to write, because everything is on the internet. Everything's written.
Yeah. It's amazing because copywriting didn't really exist 15 years ago. It's one of the fastest growing industries. When you think about it, if you were a writer 15 years ago, you were either an author, a journalist, or you worked in marketing and you wrote ad copy. Whereas today, copywriter is a huge sector. You can be specialized in email writing. You can be specialized in social writing. You can be specialized in blog writing. And the potential is huge. Like you say, there's words in everything. And it's, the potential is massive.
Yeah, I remember working for an ad agency and having to write my own copy because there were no copywriters.
There were no copywriters.
Not available, Or they were too expensive at the time.
They were too expensive. It has become, thankfully, one of those spaces that people are realizing that it's worth the investment.
So I think it's more affordable now.
It's more affordable because, again, it's not...
More.
Yeah, there are more people. So the industry's just developed. It's like every other sector. Supply and demand has matched a little bit better. But still, if anyone listening is looking for a great opportunity, copywriting is something to really hone your skills on. Even as a business owner, if you can write your own copy, that's one great skill that you've got under your belt.
If there were 3 values that you believe in and you keep in your business, what would they be?
The spirit of learning is really strong to me. So I think I went through a phase not too long before the pandemic hit where I was kind of just feeling unexcited, perhaps, by my business. And then it did take the pandemic to remind me how much learning opportunity there is out there, how many things I don't know, how many opportunities. I think in Malta, we can get a little bit stuck in our bubble, we can forget how much there is out there. So for me, that spirit of learning has been reignited, and now every day is exciting because I just want to listen to the next podcast. I want to discover the next thing. So the spirit of learning, I think for me, the second value is to really wrap our clients in cotton wool. We say that. We really genuinely love our clients. Present company accepted, not at all. We do. We really, really love our clients. And I think we are genuinely dedicated to wanting to give them the best possible experience. So that's a value that I pass on to my team. They are the client. They have to be looked after. We have to be consistent. We have to be friendly. We have to be enthusiastic. It's important to me that people feel looked after. And I guess the third value, it sounds maybe a bit daft, but kindness is a big one for me in business. I really believe in, treating people the way you want to be treated, and that to be in business, you don't have to be a shark. You don't have to be nasty. You don't have to step on other people. I'm not competitive. I'm the least competitive person you will meet, honestly. I don't have a competitive bone in my body just because I believe there's enough business in the world. And if somebody's better for the job, I hope they get it. But at the same time,
But that's a good value.
I hope I can bring a good energy to something, and therefore that makes me the right person for the job. So yeah, I think kindness is a big one. We don't talk about. It's tough, business is tough, life is tough. Like, just be kind because you don't know what somebody else is going through.
And kindness will come back.
Totally comes back.
Yeah,
it totally comes back.
So, going back to a 3, if you were to give tips to my audience, Strive to Thrive, we're looking to inspire people, people looking to go into business, people in business. What tips would you give them to, go forth in their business?
Absolutely. So the first one is enjoy the journey. I think that for me has been really important to keep in mind. You know, business isn't a destination. You're not going to arrive anywhere. You know, whether your goal is to make your first million, to make 10 million, to make enough to support yourself, just enjoy the fact that you're doing it. It's a privilege to be able to be in business. It's a privilege to do something that you love. And I think if you're constantly complaining about it or stressing about it, what's the point? You know, enjoy the fact that some days are hard, some days are fun, and just, you know, take it as it comes. So that would be a definite tip, because I think we do forget that. We get caught up in the goal, you know, and the next big thing. But every day is a huge privilege. I guess the next tip is to, again, be sort of grateful that you're in business and to remember that you have clients because you're good at what you do, but there's always going to be somebody who can maybe do it better than you or who's coming up and they have new skills. So for me, that consistency of sort of really being there for your clients is a really big one, and being, again, grateful for those clients and doing the best possible job that you can. That will stand out. That enthusiasm, that dedication will definitely stand out. And I suppose my third tip would be to embrace technology, embrace the future. Things are changing at a crazy rate. Like if I look at our industry, you know, AI copywriting is coming up at a crazy rate. There are now computers. I was asked to beta test some software a few weeks ago, and it's unbelievable what it could create. I watched it when they asked me to test it, I sort of said, yeah, okay, whatever, you're going to test, and a robot's going to write this piece. But it did, and it's good.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's good. It's about 80% there. It's incredible what it can do, but they're coming. The robots are coming in all sorts of different industries, you know? And I think as people in business, we have to remember we're not robots. So the human connection is critical. So the only thing I believe a robot isn't going to be able to replicate is the chance to make another human feel good. So bring that to your business, because you're going to need it. Don't rely just on basic skills. Don't rely on, money and all of this stuff. Just be a good person and people want to work with you.
Well, truly inspiring, Jo. You are, because you're a great ambassador of business. You've done great for yourself. I'm proud to be a client. Course.
Thank you. We're very proud you are a client.
And thanks for joining me on the Strive to Thrive podcast.
My pleasure.
And I wish you all the best in your business and in your life.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.